Hi, everybody. It is Kathy, and I love to be selling. Come on in, sellers. We are going to jump into such a fun topic that I know you're all going to enjoy. There's information in the topic for my new sellers. And if you are new, welcome to eBay Selling, my more intermediate sellers, and then my very advanced sellers. And this is the question I have for you, which is, have you ever tried this? And you're going, Kathy, what are you talking about? And I will explain. So what got me thinking about this was today is September 3rd, to date this video. And what today is, if you don't know, today is eBay's birthday. And eBay, many years ago, was started by Pierre Omidyar. And if you don't know, when eBay first started, it was called Auction Web. And it was all auctions. There was no buy it now. There was no eBay stores. There was no immediate payment. Okay. It was many years ago. And it was called Auction Web. And if I remember correctly, the first item sold on Auction Web was a broken laser pointer. The reason I bring this up with have you ever tried this is I actually had the great joy of meeting Pierre Omidyar years ago. Actually, it was at the eBay 20 event. I was invited to have lunch with him. And eBay's wonderful. When I got the invitation, it was an email, and they said, oh, would you like to have lunch with Pierre Omidyar? It was me, and if I remember correctly, it was 5 other sellers, and I was like, oh, of course, right? Just like if I was invited to have lunch with eBay's current CEO, Jamie Iannone, my answer would be yes, of course. Let me rearrange my schedule if there's anything in the way. I actually got to sit next to Pierre too, which was really fun. And the wonderful thing about him was, here he is years later. eBay's this multi-billion-dollar global enterprise. He was an active member of the board of trustees at the time. Now I believe he's board of trustees emeritus. His first question was about sellers. And I thought, look at this, the interest, the curiosity, the wanting to know, very much a listener, really talking to all the sellers that were invited to this lunch. I just watched him, and there was no sense of, I am the great founder, there just wasn't any of this. It was innate curiosity. And I thought about that with him starting eBay. And then I thought about that for all of us. Hi, Sharon, how are you? And I remember years ago when I first started selling on eBay, and I'm trying to remember what the first thing, one of the first things I remember selling was a beautiful set of crystal candlesticks. And I remember, taking the pictures. And back then, it's not at all like now with the phones where you can just upload. You would take the picture with the camera. It would have, I can't remember what they're called, but it would, the disc thing that you put into your camera, which you would take out of your camera, and then you would put it into your computer and upload the pictures. Or you would take your camera with a cradle, attach it to your computer, and upload your pictures there. Also, at the beginning of eBay selling, when I came around, was you were accepting money orders through the mail because there was no PayPal. And many of us remember getting envelopes with cash because they were supposed to send you cashier's checks, money orders. Sometimes you would take a personal check, but often buyers would send cash. Either they didn't have checking or whatever. I mean, it really was the Wild West. But I remember packaging these crystal candlesticks because I really wanted to make sure they arrived to the person that bought them. And if I remember correctly, it was somebody on the East Coast. If you don't know, I'm in New York. So they didn't have to ship like to Arizona or California. And I remember taking them to the post office because back then you weren't printing postage off the computer. You had to go stand online at the post office. And I would fill in the label, and then I would pay for the postage and everything. But I remember it was stepping out. I was trying something new. I had never listed before. And then you sell and you're like so excited. You're like, yay, I got a sale. And you're running to the post office. Now you're printing off the label and having a pickup or taking it to the post office. But that excitement of something new, of trying something new, it can happen when you're listing in new categories. If you always sell, for instance, women's clothing, And then you venture into puzzles. It's like, oh, I remember listening to my first puzzle. You're like, oh, does it have the pieces? Is this a brand that, I mean, you do the research, but again, because you haven't sold that category, you're unsure of what the shelf life is going to be, how long you're going to be holding on to it. Have I priced it well? Am I pricing it too low, too high? Again, you can do the research. Terror is great. There's other wonderful tools, but you don't know because the research is great, but it's the past, it's not the present. And you don't always know. I mean, markets very much online can change like in a nanosecond, and something can be highly in demand a week or two ago. And then, especially trendy items, not so much vintage classic items, but trendy items. And then all of a sudden they just go dead, like nobody wants to buy them. So trying new things. But I encourage us as sellers, for new sellers, everything is so new. It's like, how do I do a title? How do I do a listing? Oh, I have to pack. Like, how do I pack? And please, please, please ask questions and have sellers help you. But bottom line is you will make mistakes. I don't want to be a bummer about this, but it'll happen. Not a lot, not all the time. And if it is, then you need to really pull back and take a look because something's going on. But mistakes happen. You shipped the wrong item. You didn't pack it well enough. There was some damage when it arrived. I mean, all kinds of, but you learn. That's the whole thing. You step out. I mean, I'm sure with Pierre, if we had a longer conversation, he would have told me about all the things that he went through and all the different funny things that happen. But you learn, you keep going. If it ships to the wrong person, you get the item back and you ship it to the correct person, or you send the person the label and then they ship it to the correct person. I mean, there's a lot of ways to figure things out. Just hang in there. You get your first listing up and maybe it takes a month to sell and everybody else is getting stuff sold in a week or 2 weeks. Hang in there. It is not a sprint. It's a marathon. Then as you get selling, perhaps when you start, you're just shipping to the United States. And I remember this. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm going to ship international. And I started, if I remember correctly, with Canada. It's like, okay, I'm going to ship to Canada. Nowhere else. I'm just going to ship to Canada because they're close and I trust Canada. And then you expand and you expand and you expand. And also international shipping has gotten much easier for eBay sellers with the global shipping program and with eBay International Standard. So for my new sellers, what's so new is selling. It's just getting a nice title. You do want to do 75 characters to 80. You get 80 characters on eBay. Different platforms are different lengths. So check that out. You do want a longer one because it helps you with search words, keywords. It helps your buyers find your item. You do want a nice clear picture. Sometimes you think the picture is clear. Then you go and look at the listing. You realize it's blurry. So do go and check your listing. Write a good description. Don't just write one sentence. Okay. Let people know what it is. Yes, it's in your title, but you do want to say it again. It's a woman's pink eBay t-shirt. Give them the size and give them the fabric content because people care about fabric content. It's got a scoop neck. It's got short sleeves. That matters. And give them the measurements. Especially I find with shirts for ladies, we want to know, is it coming to my waist? Is it going to hit me on my hip bone or is it going to cover my butt? And if you give me the dimensions lengthwise, I'm going to know that. Okay. And let me know where you're measuring it from. Is it from the middle neckline down, or is it the back of the neck? Oftentimes people measure from the back of the neck, but let people know. Same things for men's shirts, for sleeve length, it's a longer sleeve shirt so that people know. Now, if you've been selling for a while, then the challenge is we get a routine. So you're packing your sales at night, or you're packing them in the morning, or you have help to pack your sales, or you have outsourced, you're a larger seller, you have things in warehouses. Okay. Inventory, you have a routine. You have certain thrift stores that you go to, or consignment stores, or certain retail establishments. You're doing what's called retail arbitrage. So you're going to your local Macy's or Nordstrom or Target or Walmart. You're buying the items, doing your research, and you're selling that way. You could also be doing what's called online arbitrage, which is you're going onto online sites, you're buying items and you're flipping them. A lot of eBay sellers, if you aren't hip to this yet, are buying off of eBay, buying lots, buying things that don't have good pictures, that don't have good titles, but you recognize them and you know that you can do better and you buy them and you flip them. So you have your inventory sources, you have the time of day that you typically ship, you have a social media routine that you do. You either do it like right after your listing, or perhaps once a week you do it, or once a month, but you get a routine going. And then sometimes what can happen, and oftentimes this will happen if all of a sudden you get a couple returns in a row, or if you have a very challenging customer, or you have an inventory, you buy a bunch of inventory and it doesn't sell for as much as you thought. I mean, you make okay money, you make a profit, but you really thought you were going to do better. What can happen sometimes is we get discouraged, or we just get bored. It's like, sort of like the 9 to 5 that many of us left to be selling on eBay. eBay becomes the 9 to 5, and it's like, sourcing, shipping, customer service. It just gets to be stale and boring. I'm like, I'm bored by this. This is not exciting. I'm not getting the fun that I had at the beginning with the sale, right? Where I was like, oh, I sold something, and you're running to the post office. So this is something I do, and this helps me enormously. I've been selling for over 15 years. So today, for instance, if you don't know, I live in New York City. I think I mentioned that. They have a pop-up event. Oh, of course, my phone is ringing. I forgot to unplug it. They have a pop-up event. It's in Times Square. It's a Ferris wheel. And I went, Ferris wheel? Let me check this out. So I went and looked at it. It's 110 feet high. I am not the queen of heights. Hey, Tiffany, how are you? I'm not the queen of heights. So I'm looking at this thing going, But I remember when I was in England, this is, maybe 8 or 9 years ago, 10 years ago, and they have one of those big wheels. I remember riding it because I had some time off. I was there for some work. And I went, I remember that. I wasn't like totally thrilled. I'm very much like keep me on the ground type, but it was cool and it was a wonderful view. And I said, you know what? I want to do this. So I went over there today. I got my mail out. I did a little bit of a workout at the gym. I had listings I needed to get up today and some social media. But it's like, you know what? I'm going to go do this Ferris wheel because I need to change it up. And because I want to challenge myself. And that's why I thought about Pierre, about the enormous challenge it must have been when he did that first listing, that first sale, when he started eBay so many years ago. And I stood online. It took about 20 minutes, half an hour. Very nice people. We're all chatting and waiting. And I got on, and the ride ended up being about 5 minutes. The first loop, and it was enclosed. So it wasn't an open Ferris wheel, where you have open, almost like a bench, and the way they swing. I remember that when I was a kid, because I was on it with my brother, and he would like rock it. And I'm like, I'm fine if I'm on the Ferris wheel, just don't rock me. So they put us in whatever group you were in is how they loaded you. And I went by myself because my husband didn't want to go. So they don't put you with people that you don't come with. I assume it's, just as far as keeping everybody safe. And I thought that was smart. So I had the whole thing to myself. It's an enclosed capsule. It had a pole in the middle, and then it had straps you could put around your shoulders. The first time I went around, I held onto the pole. I was like, I'm not going to fool around with this, because I really was nervous. And I'm praying. And I had my cell phone under my leg tight because I wanted to be able to take pictures. But I took a couple of pictures and I could sense like, this is too challenging. I'm just going to ride the ride. But after I went around once, I went, this is okay. It's not rocking. It's really cool looking. I'm enjoying myself. This is fun. And I let go of the pole. I had the straps on my shoulders. I pulled my phone out and I started taking videos and pictures. And I had such a fun time. It was over. I left. I thanked everybody. I went home. I talked with my husband. But that's what I want to say is, sometimes taking that different route home, trying different inventory. If you always work like in sweats and a t-shirt, put on dress slacks or a dress. I mean, change it up. Put a hat on. Put on funny glasses. Put on good music, or put on different music. Like if you always listen to rock and roll, put on some country western. Put on classical. Start dancing around the room. Do something. Because when you find yourself getting stale, and when you find yourself getting bored, or it could be angry, or it could be depressed, and I'm not talking clinical, like you're just like a little down, okay, is what can I do? I'm very into being proactive. And again, sometimes you just sort of embrace the moment and go, okay, great, I'm not feeling so great today. That's okay. And you just keep going. But if it's going on for a couple of days, and I was feeling a little sluggish this week, Just, so many things going on. We just had a big storm here. I mean, just a lot of different things going on. And I said, I need to do something to lift myself up and to break out of my normal routine. And more than just rearranging my schedule, like shipping at a different time, like maybe I'll ship the night before and not in the morning, or maybe I'll do my listings. There's times when you just shift your schedule around. I was like, I need to do something more than that. This did it. I just had so much fun. It's definitely a different perspective when you're 100 feet up in the air looking down, but also because it was something that challenged me, because I am not a height person. Now, it's not like a terrifying, I'm not going to do something that's like mean to myself. It wasn't like, blind terror. Like bungee jumping, I would not do. Not going to go bungee jumping. But I went Ferris wheel. I can do Ferris wheel, especially when I saw it was enclosed. They weren't rocking, and they were even saying to people, like, we don't want you rocking. They want like people just to like enjoy the Ferris wheel ride. I was like, I can do this. And I also thought to myself, you know what? If I'm truly terrified, I'll tell them after I go around for once. I'll say, you know what? I'm sorry, I have to get off. So it was fun. So that's what I want to encourage you. Whatever that looks like, it could be like if you don't have a dog and your neighbor has a dog and your neighbor's always taking the dog for a walk, maybe volunteer to take the dog for a walk. I mean, anything where just really change it up to give yourself a refresh. Okay, I need a refresh. Like the way we boot our computers, sometimes we need to boot ourselves, which is give me a refresh. I need something to just sort of rearrange everything. And again, I was thinking of Pierre, of listing that first thing. It hadn't been done. Listing that first thing for all of us when we first start selling, listing that first thing, but then listing that new inventory, shipping to that country that I have never shipped to before, shipping that item that I've never shipped overseas before. Okay. Increasing my prices because I need to get a better profit margin. Whatever that looks like, it's good to shake things up a bit and then look at it again. And if the shaking up is trying a new inventory and the new inventory isn't working, then you go, okay, that wasn't a great idea. You do your best. And we all do that, by the way. So anybody who says they make $1 million on every piece of inventory, they can email me because I want to talk to them. We all make mistakes. Things happen. You cut your losses and run, but step out of your comfort zone, whatever that looks like. Change things up, whether it's the music, different color. If you're always wearing black, here in New York, we wear a lot of black, put some color on. Ladies, when we're always wearing the red lipstick, try a pink lipstick or go and get a manicure. But again, change it up. Because especially when we're working for ourselves, so many of us are solopreneurs. It's like, just do whatever I need to do to refresh, to not get stale, to not get cranky. And I've got a great offer for you to help you with this. And it is my gift to you. I am running a free boot camp. It's going to be September 13th through 19th. It is the eBay Holiday Sales Success Boot Camp. If you go to my website, ilovetobeselling.com, you'll see it right there. It's right on my website, and click it and come join us. It is going to be week long, September 13th through 19th. It is going to be me live every day working with you. And we're going to be doing inventory and social media and holiday success. I love sharing about this. I worked brick and mortar retail for over 15 years. I know holiday sales. I did QVC for 6 years. I sold through holiday. I watched brilliant, wonderful sellers sell through holidays, and I will share top tips that are totally doable for all levels of sellers. So come join us. It is live. It is recorded, but you do need to sign up for the boot camp. You do need to be a part of the boot camp to get access to the recordings. I'm also going to have worksheets. So hop over to my website, ilovetobeselling.com, and then click and sign up for the boot camp. When you do, then you'll be redirected. It's got a pop-up Facebook group. And then next week, I'll have some worksheets coming out. You'll get the schedule. But sign up, because then you can join me live, which is lots of fun. And you'll also be able to get access to the recordings. But do it. It's such a gift for all of us, is hit that refresh button and come join me for eBay Holiday Sales Success Bootcamp. And again, it is my gift to you, and come sign up. Come on, come on, come on. I would love to welcome you to boot camp. Bye-bye, everybody.